The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello, welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And
Chip can't speak.
I am hoarse from a combination of air conditioned exposure and yelling at the TV screen during a debate. So hopefully I'll get my voice back by Friday. But welcome. It is Wednesday in the Riv. So what do we have here? Lottery will determine order of candidates.
That's because of the new charter. You know that charter that's so wonderful, but fabulous?
Yeah.
So now the city clerk, there's a special meeting of the Elections Commission, and the city clerk has to pick the names out of a hat or something, and it will decide the order on the ballot that they appear.
Do we get to see the slips before they go in to ensure that they're not all the same name?
Well, they can't be
Or
all
they're
the
blank and she's just going to regurgitate?
They can't be all the same name because they got to have 3 names to put on the ballot. But you know that in the past we've always done it with the incumbent being at the top of the ballot. The charter changed that. All the positioning on the ballot is now done by lottery. Now it gets better because they have to do another lottery in November, which will be for the entire ballot, school committee, city council, and the mayoral candidate.
Well, I have seen lotteries fixed.
Oh yeah, I know.
And there could be 3 blank slips and she just comes out and says, okay, this is the, yeah. But I'm not casting an aspersion on the city clerk. I'm just saying that, to me,
We want to view those lottery slips.
I mean, a lottery is, I don't know, it's too random. But hey, it's not a big deal. The big deal is the election. Let's hope everybody turns out and actually votes on the.
I'm going to tell you, getting candidates to come in is like pulling teeth, and I'm seriously considering just opening it up to the mayoral candidates because they're ready to come on the air, and just let them come on the air because city council candidates are getting tough.
Well, listen, if they're not, look, obviously they're disinterested in holding office, and in a way you can almost understand that they're frustrated with the city as we are, but we have to have some new people in there with some new direction and some new attitudes in order to change the city around. You can't continue to complain because that's a definition of insanity, and maintain the same government structure and expect it to change because it's not. So,
Well, and we always say that if you don't vote, you don't have a place to complain.
Yeah.
Well, in Fall River, it's opposite. In Fall River, if you vote, you have a place. You don't have a place to complain because you voted these idiots back in.
well, some of us don't. I don't.
I don't either.
But that's, we'll see, and hopefully people will come out. And, the next story is the police officer tied to excessive force resigns. So...
It's going to be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, very.
Because, is he going to apply for an early pension? Is he going to wait?
Well, this opens up a lot of, they're allowing him to resign, but if he's found not guilty, will he file a suit to come back on a department?
Right.
These are a lot of questions. The same thing with a retirement. I believe he is vested, he has over 10 years, but the reality is he can be denied a retirement facing charges like this, and there is case law, and as a matter of fact, at the last seminars we went to down at Cape for the state, they went over litigations about denying pensions for cause, And so it is there's a possibility. But the thing is, he is innocent until proven guilty. And the problem is, this opens up a lot of areas where there's,
Pandora's box.
yeah,
has
it's
been opened.
Pandora's box, because he resigned.
Right.
Okay. Now, if he's found not guilty, he can he
Is he going to want to come back?
petition to come back, and then there's a court case, and well, we'll see.
But the other thing is, now that he's resigned, we have people in the academy. What's to say his position's not going to be filled?
oh, it will be.
Right.
It will be.
Because he
once-
resigned.
He's resigned.
Right.
But if he comes back and then petitions the board to become back on or be placed on a list, or, it's happened before.
Right.
We had somebody retire because of burns sustained in a line of duty, but then he decided he had healed enough to come back, and he came back. We've had people resign from the fire department and come back, but that is the discretion of the appointing authority, and if the appointing authority says no, I can see litigation, because he'll get a lawyer and say, I only resigned to get out from under this cloud and do what maybe the mayor should have done and relieve himself of his police duties to focus on his defense. And if he's found not guilty, he'll say, well, I want my job
But
back.
he was relieved of his police duties. He was placed on administrative leave.
Yeah, but he was still, he's still attached to the
Right.
police department.
Right.
And he's still subject to rules and regulations of their administrative leave policy.
Right.
So, look, like I said, this is as they say on some of the TV programs, to be continued. But let's get to a little bit about the debate. But before we get to the debate, there was one article
That you wanted to get to from Monday.
that I wanted to get to, and this is to be continued, because I'm going to fashion a letter that you and I in Spindle City are going to send to the individual and ask her for a clarification, because even though there are quotes that are attributed to her in this newspaper article, I want to ensure that the context and this quote is accurate, because as we've seen, there have been quotes that are not completely accurate. The title of this article was it was actually from the Standard Times, by Kiernan Dunlop. It's called "Run As You Are," quote unquote. Women gather at BCC for training on how to run for office. And, it was Valerie Bassett, Executive Director of the Women's Fund of Southeastern, Southeastern, then it doesn't say anything, which again, here's another typo. Southeastern what? Southeastern Mass, Southeastern United States, I don't know. Acknowledged holding an event. And her quote was, we're looking to create equity and economic justice. In other words, social change, systems change, transformation requires supporting policies, and blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's why we need more women in politics, to make politics that are smart for women and families, which to me is a kind of a discriminatory statement. I thought you were supposed to represent the people, and that's one of the problems we have in the United States now. People feel obligated only to represent their party and their particular group. But this is the one I really have trouble with, and we're going to reach out to her. New Bedford Ward 4 Councilor Dana Ribeiro shared how she made connections with their voters, and also shared challenges she faced after she was elected. Now, this is a quote. The biggest challenge I faced is sexism, unquote. Ribeiro said, I've gone to council meetings where I've been shunned. But this is the thing that that disturbs me. But facing challenges make women more qualified for office, according to Ribeiro. More qualified? She just accused everybody of being sexist, and then she makes a sexist statement like women are more qualified because they face challenges like nobody else ever faced a challenge. No immigrant who had difficulty with the English language faced a challenge. No male who came from an impoverished background and maybe an abusive family faced challenges. I mean, this is the problem I have with politicians. They throw these labels around all the time, and then they use them themselves, even if it's in a veiled fashion or an obtuse fashion. So after accusing everybody else of being sexist, she says that women are more qualified by the mere fact of their gender. That's discriminatory. That's absolutely discriminatory. And then she goes on to say women face so many challenges, it's harder for us to get jobs. It's harder for us to get raises. It's harder for us to get listened to. So if you're a woman, you have what it takes to run. Again, a generalization. And how do you know every woman had it harder? They've done studies that show that beautiful women are treated differently than women who are not beautiful. I remember years ago they had it on television. They had a woman whose car broke down, and they had her dressed up like a bag lady, and 100 cars went past. They didn't stop to help. They then changed her into a mini skirt with her hair all done up, and she almost caused 175 accidents. It's a fact of life. Is it discrimination? Yeah. The other person didn't get treated right. Do short people get discriminated against? Do obese people get discriminated against? Yeah. So we try to educate the public not to do that. But it's a fact of life. But then to twist it around and accuse everybody else of being a racist or a sexist or a chauvinist, and then turn around and do exactly the same thing to justify your existence, to me, is the epitome of hypocrisy. The epitome of hypocrisy. And this is what we face on the political scene, and we wonder why our country's not doing anything productive, not fixing the drug problem, not fixing the healthcare problem. All they do is talk and flap their gums. And I'm gonna write a letter that we're gonna send to her and ask her for a clarification. I'm gonna direct it to this program, to this show, and I'm gonna ask her if that is an accurate representation of what she said. And I'm gonna ask her in that letter if she feels that, if that statement is correct, if that isn't a biased, sexist statement. Because in my opinion, it is. It's just as biased and hypocritical as the squad condemning the detention centers and not funding things that will improve conditions in the detention centers. So I had to get that one in, CJ. I'm sorry. I mean, when I see stuff like this, that's why I'm hoarse between the air conditioning and yelling at the TV screen when I hear this stuff with these people blaming everybody for everything, and they want to give everybody something for nothing. I want to know who's going to work in the United States now if they get what they want. They want to give everybody free health care, free education, and give people who don't want to work a salary anyway. You don't have to work. So we have half the population on welfare, and now the other half that are working for $15 an hour are not going to work anymore. Why should you work if they're going to give you the money anyway? I can't hear you, CJ. Carlos, volume. I can't hear him. I heard you before. Uh-oh.
There we go. There we go.
There we go. Okay, we got you.
There we go. The switch was still blocked off.
Yeah, so, I mean...
The real funny part about it is, I mean, with them giving all of this stuff away for free, who's going to pay for it? There's going to be nobody working. There's going to be no taxes coming in. Oh, wait a minute. The millionaires are going to pay for it. The company's going to pay for it.
Yeah, of course.
Amazon's going to pay for it.
Do you realize how ridiculously stupid this statement is? And this shows the electorate. This is the reason the country's as screwed up as they are. Because we got voters who are such pinheads that they can't even analyze that statement and show how ridiculous it is. Number one, half of them spent half the debate saying that companies are multinational now.
Right.
They don't have any allegiance to the United States. They'll go to Mexico or Vietnam or anybody to save a nickel. They'll throw anybody out of work. Yet they expect them to stay in the United States if they take all their money. They live in the United States now because they want to. If you tell them they're going to subsidize everything, which they can't, because it's even beyond their means, they're going to move to Switzerland or buy their own island somewhere and go somewhere. That is absolutely absurd. That is absolutely absurd to think a billionaire is going to stay here and let us take all his money when he moves entire factories to other countries to save a nickel. You know what the millionaires are going to tell us? Right there. That's what they're going to tell you. See you later. And that's the absurdity of this entire thing. And you listen to them, and then they lie. Elizabeth Warren was asked point blank, is your universal health care going to increase taxes to the middle class? You know
And
what
she didn't answer.
Well, she did, but she lied.
Right.
She said no, and then in a very soft voice, no, because the premiums will be lower, and that'll compensate for what?
For the
tax increase.
Right.
So the answer to that question was not no. The answer to that question was yes. It is going to increase taxes to the middle class.
But Bernie Sanders did the same thing.
Yeah,
Bernie
of
Sanders
course.
did the exact same thing. And then when you look at it, you know, they started saying, oh, well, you know, the Democratic Party is not the party to take away things. The Republicans do that. So why would we...
Feedback on a mic now.
Yeah, I know.
We're having a bad
day with sound.
Yeah.
Bad day with sound.
Go ahead, you good now.
Okay. And the really weird thing is that they turned around and they said, because the Medicare for All plans would require that private health care disappear. Do you want to give away your private health care? Chip, do you want to give away your private? That's one of the key bargaining points for unions.
And actually, one of the candidates said that.
Right.
He said that unions gave up pay raises to negotiate really good health care.
Exactly. And now they want to take it away.
And the other guy made a great point, too. He said 3/4 of the hospitals will close because they're not going to just take Medicare payment levels. They all have supplements like medics. And these hospitals can't run on Medicare. And they've said most of the smaller hospitals will close. And look, it's pie in the sky crap. Look, it's amazing how society has changed. When I grew up, I was told something that I still believe. You don't get it. You don't get something for nothing.
Oh, wow.
That was the old adage. So we're going to get everything for free, and somebody else is going to pay for it, especially somebody who has the means to get the hell out of Dodge. So that's absurd, number one. But that's the society we live in. They listen to this crap. They believe this crap. and it's just mind-boggling. You watch that, and as soon as it comes out of their mouth, people who understand, like you and I, we immediately picked up Warren, Sanders, with everything, and they manipulate and fact, they manipulate, but they don't get facts checks. But this is the problem, because we have a society that's gone from the ridiculous to the sublime. Now I got to get into somebody sent me something yesterday that really shows what how bad it's gotten, and I can't show it on the air because it's on my phone. But I will describe it to the best of my ability. It is a picture, two pictures actually, one of an American soldier standing there with his medals all over his chest, and another young adult male standing there with an orange shirt that says "I'm a mess," green pants, and boots. And this is the narrative that went along with these two pictures. The first picture is black and white, and you can tell by the uniform it's an older uniform, and I immediately knew who it was. Some of us do, most of them don't. And it says, to the picture on the left, 19 years old, no parents, supported himself by sharecropping and picking cotton, awarded the Medal of Honor for holding back an entire German company with a machine gun and leading a successful counterattack, wounded and out of ammo, one of the most decorated veterans in the United States history. Then to the picture on the left, 20 years old, can barely fix a can of soup, has PTSD from offensive words, requires safe space, coddled into a perpetual state of immaturity, and couldn't possibly own a rifle, and has never heard of Audie Murphy. And boy, that says it all.
Yeah, you know.
That says it all about this society. You know, and for the love candidate, the author, who is a very articulate and intelligent woman.
Yes, she was.
But she's a product of the academic bubble. She lives in this bubble that thinks we can love people to death, when she doesn't know that the human condition, and Mark Twain, when he said man is the only animal that can blush, means that there are bad people in this world. And she's an author. So I will suggest to her, if I could, for her to read George Orwell, because in one of his books was garnered the quote that is the motto of the Special Operations Corps. People sleep peacefully in their beds at night because rough men stand ready to do violence on their behalf. It's the only reason we're safe, is that we have people that know that love cannot win, that you need, as Theodore Roosevelt said, you can speak softly, but you must carry a big stick, because there are always barbarians at the gate that don't care, and you can't love them away. And this is what disturbs me about the naivete of some of these candidates and about the American public. You know, this world is not a safe space. Once you leave the borders of the United States, it's a different world. People are killed in countries, people are murdered, people are poisoned, people, you know, if you look for a safe space and you're anti-government in some places, you'll get a safe space in a burial vault. That's where you get it. And this is what bothers me. When I watch these things, it just drives me crazy, because, not because they're saying it, because that's what they do. Politicians are professional word benders, mind benders.
Wordsmiths.
Yeah, not even wordsmiths. It's even, you know, that means that they're just professional liars to a degree. Then they'll get in and say, well, you know, we tried it, but we can't do it this way, and they'll change it. And because what they're changing, but I expect that from them because that's what they do. But you have to question the intellect of the American public when they buy this crap. They believe it. And of course, the kid in that picture, of course, will buy it because he's got PTSD. And if you guarantee him a safe space and a free ride, he's going to love you, even though it's not feasible. But that's the problem. In the old days, when people had to live through the Depression and were taught that if you want something, you got to go out and work for it, they were harder people. They understood reality. We are like the Roman Empire. We've gotten so rich and so hedonistic that people have just lost the perspective on the world that we live in. They truly believe that the world is the United States, and it isn't. That's why the rest of the damn world's trying to get in here illegally, because the rest of the world is not like that. The countries that these people are talking about, those people are trying to escape from, they're not trying to escape from it because of persecution. They're trying to escape from it because they don't have food, they don't have health care, they don't have anything for the most part. It's a crap hole. But we think that the whole world is like America. That's why, but then they tell you, but if that was true, people would not be leaving Ecuador, and Guatemala, and South Africa to come to sneak into the United States. We have a false narrative being perpetrated by politicians, and when we become a second-rate economic power because of all these ridiculous things, well, it'll be our fault. Not my fault, because you'll never see me vote for anybody who's talking about freebies.
Well, you know, people said that Elizabeth Warren came out of that looking good. Other people say that Williams came out looking good, the author. I think Delaney came out looking good. I mean, he had common sense answers. Why take away someone's health care? Why do this? Why do that? But again, some of his stuff was the same as everyone else's. Give it away, give it away, give it away. And nobody said anything about the fact that they just said Trump is responsible for all this illegal stuff so he can take away children. That's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to stop the illegal immigration.
Yeah, of course, Obama took away more children than he did. So.
Right, but nobody said to them, but you didn't approve the funding for beds. You didn't approve the funding for showers. You didn't approve the funding for food. So who's at fault here?
Well, you know, the problem, CJ, is that if you're moderate, and as you said, I agree with you about him, he had some reasonable stuff, but that's not what they want to hear.
No, they don't.
The Democratic Party is looking at a voting demographic of people who want things for free. Want things for free. I mean, the absurdity of reparations up to $500 million because 40 acres and a mule. I mean, give me a break. I mean, this is absurd. Reparations? How about reparations for the Indians? Oh, we gave them the casinos, but we killed them all. We wouldn't have had slavery. And then the comment by Beto O'Rourke, they were kidnapped, literally kidnapped. No, they weren't. They were sold by their own people. So it's all BS. And I'll tell you, tonight is going to be even better, I think, because I can't wait to see what Sleepy Joe, that beware, he said you have awoken a sleeping giant. So,
and maybe they did. Maybe they did. And it's going to be good to see. Although I'm going to be taking the dots and sticking them in my ears at times.
Well, hopefully by Friday I'll get my voice back. But, well, it is what it is. So let me take another shot of iced tea.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you on Friday. And remember, stay angry.